mind is like a battlefield, and my heart is overcome by fear, and hope seems like a ship that's lost at sea. My enemies on every side, and I'm tempted to run and hide. Your gentle whisper reaches out to me. Peace that holds me when I'm broken. Sweet peace that passes understanding. When the whole wide world is crashing down, I fall to my knees and breathe in your peace. Fiery arrows whistling, the terror of the night sets in, and I can feel your angels all around. I am resting underneath the shelter of your mighty wings. Your promises are where my hope is found. All my hope, peace that holds me when I'm broken. Sweet peace that passes understanding. When the whole wide world is crashing down, I fall to my knees and breathe in your peace.
I remember who you are.
You're the God who's never far.
So I will not be afraid.
God, you always keep me safe in your arms. I remember who you are. You're the God who's never far. So I will not be afraid. God, you always keep me safe. You give me peace that holds me when I'm broken. Sweet peace that passes understanding. When the whole wide world is crashing down, I fall to my knees and breathe in your peace. You're the God who's never far.
So I will not be afraid.
God, you always keep me safe.
That was so beautiful. I I didn't think Ryan could make it through a whole song sitting down, but he did it. Thank you so much. You sound beautiful together. Yeah, I hate to bring that down with some Goliath and David here. But it'll actually come together. So we're working with our power of strength. You can put that slide up there, Carly. Reminding, how about the next one? Sorry. Reminding us that this is our ability. So each of these powers has a associated apostle, disciple. That this is represented, strength is represented by Andrew, who was Simon Peter's brother. So strength and love and faith go hand in hand. Faith is represented by Simon Peter. And the physical location in the body is the part of our lower back that is so strong and also really flexible. That's important to know, because sometimes when we fixate on strength from a personal level, we can get a little, stubborn, a little rigid, right? And so noting that strength in its true form allows for flexibility as well. It's not holding on to something, but having strength that is flexible. And you've probably had experiences of that for yourself. So our ability to endure, to stay the course, to last, to be persistent, to persevere, and to be stable, and to be dependable. It's also strength that supplies our courage. Oftentimes, I don't know about you, but in times that require courage, my first thought is, I don't have it. I'm not feeling very courageous. That's the call to strengthen that muscle, to continue forward, to endure, to persevere, to stay stable, even when things are shifting, even when you're uncertain, even when you're full of doubt. There is that within you and me that provides a steady, standing place. But oftentimes, I will beat myself up, thinking I should be more strong, I should be more courageous. That's just the call to practice it. Don't step away. That's sort of what the Israeli light army was doing, was just not even engaging, just staying away from this fearful monster, which we're gonna look at metaphysically in a moment. But it takes courage to step up, to stay the course. And so when you don't feel it in the moment, that's the moment to stay standing, to keep persevering, to call upon this energy of something greater than you that is working through you. And this working with faith is to believe, sometimes we put our faith in our limitations, right? In our fear, in our doubts, in our pains, in our anguish. But again, we want to tell those monsters how big our truth is, our divine nature is. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying those things don't scare the heck out of us in the meantime. But this story is really one that illustrates how big those monsters can be when we attach ourselves to them, when we think we are them. And suddenly, we don't even hear the voice of that little David who knows something more, who believes in something more. And so that, metaphysically, is what we're sort of looking at today in this story. Reverend Paul Hasselbeck, in his book, Heart-Centered Metaphysics, says, as I've already alluded to, the power of strength is not force, manipulation, or defensiveness. It is spiritual courage and confidence. Non-resistance is the highest expression of strength. From a merely sense and personal consciousness. It is the ability to hold on based on sense consciousness, which tells us there's not enough and somebody's always against me, right? These are what we call error thoughts, that we're separate. We're separate from our source. We're separate from each other. And so we tend to hang on to things in the outer realm, resulting in stubbornness, forcefulness, and rigidity. That's not what we're wanting to build here. We're wanting to recognize when we're doing that and loosen that grip. So the Bible story of David and Goliath provides this illustration for us. Now, when we look at things metaphysically, we're looking beyond the literal story. And oftentimes when you read scripture, to look at it literally is like, I'm sorry, what? It's not really relative to some degree to what, we're not all in battles, and we're certainly not all children with slingshots, right? So let's look at how does this relate to, when we look at the story metaphysically, to what happens in us. It's a process in us. So these are two aspects of us, David and Goliath. It appears at a literal glance that this is a story about strength, about physical dominance. But the way it ends doesn't add up. It doesn't follow that logic. So just as a reminder, Goliath is leading the army of the Philistines against the Israelites. He's a giant. He's said to be 10 foot tall. He's wearing all things bronze. He's got a, what's it called, a javelin, thank you. That's huge and got a big iron point on the end, and he is just talking all sorts of smack. No one even will go close enough. So he's only done anything verbally. That's a hint. Something that goes on in us. And he scared the whole army. Until David, this young shepherd boy who had been charged with running food and supplies to his brothers in the Israelite army, takes up the challenge. In part, and this is, I loved what Eric Butterworth says about this, he'd watched grown men that he loved and looked up to running away, cringing in fear when they saw the giant. David asked about this. Who is this heathen that he should defy the armies of God? And they told him, it's not your affair, little boy. Go tend to your sheep. David represents the urge for spiritual growth in us, which is sometimes like a little person, not very powerful, feels faint. He goes on to say, keeping his father's sheep means the centering process of spiritual thoughts. So beginning to focus on those thoughts. Learning to align our mind, with God thoughts. It's our greatest source of power, but for most of us, it's usually off in the hills or deep in the depths of our innermost self. That's what those sheeps represent. We can kind of hear them, kind of see them, but David's tending to them. He's tending to these spiritual thoughts as a young boy. I'll give you a little extra history if you're interested. There's not a test, but metaphysically, the Israelites represent the part of us which has the potential for spiritual understanding and truth. We already have it. We're born with it. But we have to activate it. We have to know it. And the world tends to be as captivating and as scary as the Goliath figure. So we don't always turn there, do we? We're like, whoa, what's going on? Look out. So the Israelites in Scripture metaphysically represent the part of us willing and even eager to know more than the ways of the world. We know we are more than this. And we want to, and we're willing and we're available. But it tends to be a little bit faint at first. The Philistines represent error thoughts, which result from our human sense consciousness, which is limited. And again, not bad. We're not going to get rid of it. It's limited. What we can see, touch, smell, we can't do that with spiritual things. We intellectualize them, but they don't really come to life until we practice them. until we're working with our head and our heart, yes? So it's more than what we can tangibly know and more than we can intellectualize. So this is a battle that happens within us, between the smaller, seemingly weaker, weaker, softer voice of the spiritual truth that is our true nature. And because its strength is so grounded in truth, it does not need to be boisterous and loud and bullying. That's another part of us. Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, says this, that the two armies in 1 Samuel that we're talking of, the Israelites and the Philistines, represent two aggregations, clusters, ways of thinking in the mind of every individual. Those that know and strive to follow the truth, which we say is God, is divine truth, never changes with the capital T. It's the essence of who you are and what you are. And those that strive to follow the truth, and those that are open enmity to violent opposition to everything God-like. So there is that within us that knows something more of us, and there's that within us that would almost kill it, because it's so scary to it. You can't prove it, don't believe it. The world is out to get you. You can't rely on this spiritual nature. Anybody have that battle? Okay, go home. You've all got it. So in metaphysics, you'll hear this if you dare study it deeply, that you'll hear this idea of the armies of truth and error. So the error army sometimes seems the larger and the stronger because it is principally in the visible, in the outer expression. We see it. While the army of truth is made up of spiritual, invisible forces. We feel it, we know it. And we are often scared, even terrified, at the gigantic proportions of some leading thought on the error side in our mind, which represents Goliath. So a challenge comes up, and and again, this is not about denying challenges. This is not just saying that, all is well, as I'm a child of God. Meanwhile, the whole world's on fire. It's about not identifying our power and our strength and our truth with that, so that we can meet it from a place where we are sturdy, where we are stable, where we can persevere. And so the essence of the story really is that which is untrue about us and about God and about each other occurs as larger and louder and scarier than the truth that we know. And in many ways, socially, we've been disconnected from even trusting that, our intuition, that part of us that knows we belong to each other, that knows there's more to us than our defenses and our fears and our striving, all the stuff, right? Charles Fillmore says, our Goliath may be different from that of our neighbor, but it boasts and brags all the same, daily of its strength, and it intimidates us with its show of power. There is but one way to meet and subdue this, and that is through the power of love, represented by David, the ruddy-faced shepherd boy. Sympathetic love will not bring these results. Love must have the assurance of truth and must be sent forth with confidence, courage, and power in both thought and word. That's what represents that slingshot, right at the third eye, knocking Goliath down. So here's the thing, here's the key to this. The threats of Goliath that represent the intimidating and the frightening aspects of manifested negativity that we as human beings have perpetuated to some degree. It's grown to gigantic dimensions in our human perception. It's in our human perception that we see this monster. I'll give you an example. You know, for example, when you're ill, we've all had either just having a bad bout of the flu or you know what, the other thing we don't mention anymore, all the way up to more serious illnesses, right? When we're in that way, in that place, doesn't that experience, if we're not mindful, it sort of takes over our whole focus. We're really focused on how we're feeling, on what we should be doing, somehow that we're weak, something's wrong, how come it's taking so long, maybe something we even did that led to this, and all of a sudden, that's the whole of our experience. And there is that option right there to, yes, being ill is not comfortable. It's a bummer, and it's difficult, and it's challenging. And I am not this. There is that within me that remains whole and strong and true, and I want to align my power with that in facing this, in healing this. So it's back to that power of our thoughts, that when we fixate on what's wrong with our bodies, with us, with our relationship, not that there aren't things to work on, because there are, but it tends to grow the problem into this big thing. Anyone have that experience? Okay, great. And so we connect with that small voice within us, and as we connect with it more and more, it gets louder and surer. That the strength of the energy of God itself is my strength. And I won't know that until I call upon it and courageously stand the course. And I will experience a level of courage that of myself I cannot take responsibility for. There is something more powerful than my egoic mind and my feelings and my doubt and my insecurities and all that junk that's part of being human that gives way to something stronger and truer. And if we always come right up there and say, oh, never mind, we never know that. And I'm only telling you that because I've done it and it scared the hell out of me, and I'm doing it right now, basically. But until you do it, you don't know what you can do. And you don't know the power that you are as an expression of this divine life, this energy, this intelligence that is moving through you, even in the midst of a challenge, deepening you, showing you a depth of yourself that you can't quite imagine. I always like to remind you all of my favorite yoga teacher, Adrienne. I do yoga with Adrienne on YouTube. I highly recommend her. But she's a genius because she fits in these little affirmations, which this is the next step. This is what we do to slay our Goliath, and I have a joke for you about that. But so, you're getting down, she gets you down and you're going into a plank position. And she says, just quietly say to yourself, I am strong, I am strong. And sometimes I say that, I am strong, and I feel, my arms are shaking, but I feel it, and I feel it, I am strong, I get through it. And sometimes I say, speak for yourself, Adrienne. And I'm focused on, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. I mean, it's that subtle, right? And think about the things in life that really challenge us. Do we say, you suck, you're weak, you can't do it, or I am strong, I am strong, I am strong. It makes a difference. That is the steps, if you will, for slaying your Goliath. Awareness is key. Begin to notice, wow, I am swimming in a bunch of fear and doubt, and I'm drowning. I wonder why. Just acknowledging, look where I am focused. Doesn't mean that what's happening isn't happening and I'm denying it. No, I'm just noticing that I am making this into a big giant. And so I want to use the power of denial, which is not the psychological power of denial that we don't really want you to use, but saying this, I'm not going to give this fear residence in my awareness, in my consciousness right now. This has no power over me because it's not the truth. So we become aware of it, we identify what it is, and we say, I give no power to thoughts of weakness, helplessness, or despair. And then we affirm the truth, I am strong in divine nature. That is my nature. Right? So whatever that works for you, the energy of God in me is my strength. Whatever that is, you put your mind on that. You're still going to face whatever it is, but you're going to come at it from a whole different vantage point. Truly, from a place of strength. I've been in Unity for many years, and we often would have affirmations in the bulletin. For a while, we talk about denials and affirmations, and it's kind of gone to the back burner a little bit. And I'll admit, when I sat where you sat, I thought, oh, okay, yeah, all I have to do is say this and say that. Right? It's got to be more than that. But it's the power of our thoughts and then our words and our actions and our beliefs, because the things that we think about the most become beliefs. And if they're grounded in limitation, that's what we experience. So try it as you're going about your week and this month. And if you have any experience, I don't know if anything might be causing you to need a little strength or courage these days. Notice, am I fixating on all that's wrong and feeling afraid of it? Or am I noticing that is happening, and what am I going to focus my energy and my thoughts on in order to still do what's mine to do in that experience? So how many of you read the newsletter? Oh, okay. Probably not as many as I need to do this, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm all one for calling out when I make a mistake. Turns out what I did, can you make that next slide come up, Carly? I said, this was the topic of our newsletter, slaying your Goliath. That's how I spelled it. And I have a reason for this. I blame my teenage daughter. There's a couple things. They say that all the time. Slay, oh, that slays, you slay. And I'd never really thought about the spelling of it. I was just like, yeah, okay. Whatever, I don't even know what that means. And then for Christmas, someone got me a shirt that says, slay the season, but they spelled it like that. And of course, being a minister, I'm more inclined to Christmas, which has nothing to do with Santa, really, but slaying. So I don't know, I was more concerned with spelling Goliath correctly, because I've only spelled that maybe twice in my lifetime. And I woke up Saturday morning like, oh, I used the wrong spelling of slaying. And so Heidi said, oh yeah, be sure, if you remember nothing else, you get that Goliath and you put him you tie him to a sleigh and you say, go, where I say you'll go. Okay, thank you for that. I just had to own it because it horrified me in the wee hours of the morning. But be careful what your kids get into your mind, because it might get confusing. Words matter, yes? All right, let's take a moment to embody this. And I have something a little different for us today to start out in this meditation, which is to stand up. To stand up. This is a stance of power. If it's comfortable and able, you can certainly do it from sitting down if that's not working for your body. Don't worry about it. But just stand tall. Just stand tall. Put your feet shoulder width apart. Take a deep breath and sort of roll your shoulders back. Let your shoulder blades sort of meet in the back. And just feel the strength of your physical body. No matter what condition it is standing here firmly on this ground. And taking a breath. And tuck your chin just slightly to have the crown of your head fully engaged upward. We're stable on our feet and we're pronounced in our stature so that the top of our head, where we connect, where we receive divine inspiration, divine ideas, we are connected with that from a tall, receptive standpoint. And just maybe clasp your fists just gently to your side and breathe in, I am strong. And again, breathing in, the energy of God is the strength in me. The color associated with this power is a lime green. So you might envision, if this works for you, kind of a lime green, a bright spring green light emanating in that small of your back area and through your abdominal cavity. Just illuminating this place where physical strength is most obvious in our body. And just take a moment to appreciate your physical body in whatever condition it is this day. There is that within it that has a perfect pattern of wholeness. And there is that within your spirit that has and contains strength well beyond this physical form. So we thank our body temple. We bless it for doing this mighty work. And we receive through the crown of our head the energy of strength, of divine strength, guiding our thoughts, giving us the power to endure, to stay the course, to find courage where we thought we had none. And so you can take a breath now and take a seat, staying in this powerful awareness. Just affirm to yourself, divine strength is my spiritual nature. And sometimes you got to shake it off. It's strong. So no matter where you go this week, whatever challenge, whatever potential monster may appear, you remind yourself of this. When we say, as we heard in that opening reading, that the battle was the Lord's, that's within us. Do we succumb to this, we're merely human, of our own strength, which will be limited, which will not endure? Or do we say, there is that within me that is of God itself, and I want to know that, I want to claim that, I want to be that in every situation. That is what it means to be the light of the world. And that is what we are remembering, is the truth of who we are. invite you to open your eyes if you haven't already, bringing your awareness back to this time and space. I don't want to read about any of you in the news slaying any Goliaths out there. That was a weird thing to say, sorry. I'm looking forward to hearing how this plays out for us this month. I'm feeling empowered by this power of strength, and so I hope you have felt some of that today. Now is the time in our service where we give of our good in support of what we do here at Unity Spiritual Center Denver, which is completely supported by your gifts and donations. There are baskets in the back that you can leave your cash and check if you have that. I know many of you do that online already, so we thank you for that. And if you'd like to know how you can do that, there's a barcode or a QR code in your bulletin as well as in the back that you can scan for an electronic donation. So however you are giving, we'll bless our love offering together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am